just how dominant it was.
Yeah, and how does he play Elise? We're going to go talk about that in just a second. Let's take a look at the picks and bans with our analysts here as well. What is the biggest problem here for you all?
I think the first rotation from Unicorns of Love, picking Rek'Sai over Elise, lost in the game, I think.
Yep.
I think the fact that I think they were just testing the waters. Does Rain overplay Elise? Does he not?
Better do it in game 1.
He does? Okay, let's go next game.
All right.
Yeah, we talked during picks and bans on this, and I thought perhaps at first it was a little bit bold with the maybe this is where they lost the game. The problem was they continued to then kind of pick the Nautilus, which when you then end up with the Alistar in the first rotation, you can't flex the Nautilus, so you end up locked into this composition with ultimately fairly low damage after the Lucian, and then you pick a Kog'Maw, and the lanes don't play out particularly well. So low damage until the Kog'Maw, and even the Kog'Maw needs like 35-40 minutes to really become that dominant.
Yeah, I think Fnatic did a really good choice of banning out the mid laners here in that game. Even when they banned out themselves, they made sure that Power of Evil doesn't have any safe mid laners to blind pick that he can just farm on. But the game was over so quickly that he didn't have any impact. He couldn't even play League of Legends in that game, basically.
The thing is, what I want you all to do on red side is not pick the Alistar, flex the Nautilus. They need to have some flexibility to make sure that they have some kind of good matchup somewhere. Like in this game, they had the stronger matchup bot lane, but it feels like I want to talk about the bot lane and make like a small analogy for the Fnatic bot lane. It's like Frodo and Sam. Like in the movie, they are the heroes, but they don't do much fighting. But this is like in this game, they had a weaker bot lane matchup. This was like a scene that was cut out from the movie where they kill 100 orcs. That's how hard they like beat the enemy bot lane in a matchup they should lose, which is also already worrying.
Yeah, the top is doing very well. We talked about the Elise. We have a little bit of B-roll showing just how capable Reignover is on that one. And just coming to the basic things, the tower diving, that decision making. I mean, it stays Reignover.
Beautiful. This,
yeah, I just
Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata.
What a wonderful phrase.
Just the way Fnatic plays out these dice is just, they're so good at diving. Who takes aggro? You see Huni always at the edge of the tower aggro, tanking as much as possible. And it's just very beautiful to see. And right now, you see the same story again. Huni out of tower range, ultimating with style, executing him. It's
yeah, and on the Riven as well, and just completely snowballing that game Fnatic. So now for the OL, you say testing the waters. They honestly looked pretty defeat there after that. I mean, not that you shouldn't, but it is still a series, even though it's looking grim. So what's the plan from here?
I think definitely what they should do in the first rotation, if the ban and pick phase goes out the same way, I think they should pick the Nautilus and the Elise. Flex the Nautilus, get some flexibility in there to make sure you have some better matchups and something you can play on with the Elise, and then you start from there. Try to win early game and hope for the best.
Problem here in this series, though, which is somewhat unique, is with sides staying the same for 5 games, it now means if you want to change up one of those bans, Fnatic are going to have either the Janna, the Kalista, or the Lulu available. Kalista's probably the only one they'll first rotation out of that lot, but to be, you know, if you're locked in that situation, when you start having to mix up bans, then it becomes very tricky to actually orchestrate a successful picks and bans phase.
The thing is, once again, like in the series against us, they banned Janna a lot as well. And in this series, they decided to ban Janna as well. Sure, we've played Janna, but I think the only reason you would ever pick Janna is into Alistar. Sure, they first rotation Alistar, but I want them to first rotation Nautilus. And Nautilus is considered one of the better supports against the Janna, because Nautilus, as a top laner, and for example Shen as well, really strong before the first base and can do a lot of damage to the Janna.
We'll see what they adapt on. The analysis is almost longer than the game, so let's hope for UL that it goes a bit better in Game 2. It's time for a quick break as UL look to recover and even the series up in Game 2. But before we get there, let's hear a little more about the newest man in pink on the LCS stage.
Yeah.